Well, for more on what these graduates have to look forward to and how they compare to their global counterparts, I'm joined by Nicole Smith. She's a research professor and senior economist at Georgetown University Center on Education and the Workforce. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you.
Now, let's start with a look at the state of the job market globally. What are you seeing?
Well, actually, since April's report that came out about a week ago, we actually have positive news. We've seen about 211,000 jobs created, so that's really good job growth, much better than the previous month of March. The unemployment rate is at an all-time low of just over 4.4%. That's equivalent to maybe about full employment. So we are at a point where, we're going to switch over from an employer's market to workers having some say in deciding what their opportunities are, perhaps some say in deciding what their wages are, and maybe we can see some positive wage growth as well.
And so in terms of that, what are you seeing as far as how they compare to their counterparts in other parts of the world?
Well, in other parts of the world, I think the U.S. is still a prime area for opportunity and employment. I mean, we see that in the number of students who are applying each year to get into universities here. We see that in the number of job applicants that we have internationally. So there's still a prime place for employment opportunities. I think one of the major concerns that we have for these graduates, we just cited some numbers on the types of majors that they're graduating with. We care about making sure that once you graduate, you are not one of the pools of overqualified or underemployed. So you have to make better connections now between the types of majors you study and the types of competencies that employers are requiring for jobs.
Now, let's also look at global youth unemployment. Last year, it was twice the global average. So what sort of impact is that having on students while they're in school, and also the choices that they choose to make after they graduate, whether it's looking at jobs or perhaps even entrepreneurship as a better option?
Well, youth unemployment has always been a concern, and it's still a concern for the U.S. economy as well. I mean, youth unemployment is about 2 or 3 times higher than the unemployment rates that we observe here. A concern is that as we move forward, students need to think of highlighting exactly what their competencies are, of being able to define on their resumes and make a good impression the first time they walk into that interview, to show exactly how they can hit the ground running once they get into that job opportunity. So that's still a challenge. There's almost a chicken and egg. You have to come in with experience, but you don't get experience till you get the job. So the way youth are sort of counterbalancing that is through apprenticeship programs or perhaps through internship programs. So while they're in school, they can start an internship and try to get those skills to connect with the job.
Now, you can't talk about job without talking about salaries. So which are some of the industries that are really trying to offer the best salaries for students?
Well, you can't talk about the best salaries without talking about the worst salaries. But the best salaries are still in STEM, are still in high-tech, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics jobs. And once you hit the ground running and you come out of your graduation, those are the job opportunities that still pay the highest wages. The counterbalance to that is that some of the liberal arts degrees and and those types of majors, social science majors, would require you to go back and perhaps complete a master's degree before you can obtain that living wage that we all desire.
Now, salary isn't everything for some people. Some people value things like a work-life balance or perhaps even some great perks. So when you're looking at some of these graduating students' wish list, what are they really looking for in their future employers?
Well, what distinguishes the graduate today from when you and I graduated, maybe our parents graduated, is that these millennials are very confident in what they want and what they don't want. And what they really value above all else is work-life balance. They value having time to create their own space. And for this reason, we're seeing the development of a new type of job that we're even calling the gig economy, where millennials are attaching to the workforce as they see fit. Are deciding on exactly which subsets of employment they're going to take, working remotely from their computer, really using technology for them and to make a space for themselves, create a space through, technological change.
Now, is there any concern that the things that they value, this gig economy, everything else, are there concerns, though, that won't match the jobs that are currently available?
Well, they're creating their own jobs. and they're creating their own space. So, you know, we might have this archaic definition of what a job is and how long you're supposed to be in that job and what type of tenure you're supposed to have in a job. But what we found is that millennials themselves are deciding, okay, if you have this particular need, and we haven't thought about how we can address this need, they're fulfilling this need for you. So whether I fulfill this need, you know, in the basement of my parents' apartment or in some, you know, brick and mortar building, which is traditional, as long as that need is filled, then employers, your potential employers will pay for that.
So just quickly, good news for the class of 2017 compared to previous years, yes or no?
Great news, and compared to 10 years ago in the heart of this recession, I would prefer to graduate today.
Indeed, I think most of us would. Thank you so much for your insights. Professor Nicole Smith, Senior Economist at Georgetown University Center on Education and the Workforce.